So, welcome to the podcast. A guy that we've been chasing down for the longest time, actually. Ross Miller, how are you?
I'm very well, Rab. Thanks for having me on.
Not at all. You've been incredibly busy, man, I have to say. Yeah, you've been finding lockdown, I don't know, a chance to kind of put the work gloves on and get to work.
Yeah, well, I don't think that because I feel like I'm way quieter than I normally am. But I think anyone who lives with me or kind of is in close contact with me will tell you otherwise that I've been working quite hard over the last year, I guess. But,
That's it, you have indeed. So, well, we're going to get into something that you have coming up soon. You have quite an exciting project. Keep that under my hat for now. But first of all, I want to look back to 2019. It's been quite a year for you. You know, lifting the World Championship, of course, with the mighty Inverary. But I have to ask then about your experience with the BBC Young Traditional Musician of the Year. You made it through to the final.
I did, yes. That was very exciting. I was very happy and privileged to get there. It was a brilliant experience, and it was great to get to play as part of Celtic Connections at the city halls and things. It seems like so long ago in such a different world. January 2019. It's
Yeah.
mental, but yeah, and it was a great night. I think I was last on. So I had to like kind of watch everybody else, but also it was like weird because I couldn't watch everyone else because of the way the city halls is laid out. Yeah, there was like a TV screen but no audio, so like I could just see what was happening but not hear anything the whole time. And then it was like you can't. So for a normal piping competition, it's you like play your pipes like as like your warm up and things, and that's kind of like to get you settled. But because of like the concert hall, I couldn't really play my pipes, so I had to like tune them on a very minimal basis, and it was such a weird kind of experience from like a competitive piping point of view as
Yeah,
well.
because I was going to ask you about that, the tuning and everything. Like you're playing with other, instrumentalists who are playing like fiddles and whistles and things, and they're pretty quiet, but Highland pipes they're up there. So how did you tackle that then? Did you just find like a little back room somewhere or?
Yeah, just like I just had to play before the show started. I think in the break, and then just embrace it. Basically, is the key. And I think when you do more and more of this kind of stuff, you realize that pipers kind of take the mickey a bit with like what we expect in terms of tuning facilities and tuning situations. Like for competitions, it's like you've only got 4 minutes to tune your pipes. Like everybody, and it's like, oh, I don't know if I'll get my pipes in tune in 4 minutes. And like to be honest, I haven't on many occasions I haven't got my pipes in tune in 4 minutes, and all this kind of thing. But yeah, for the gigs, you can play your pipes at the start, put them down, play a whistle, do a song, whatever, and then have to pick them back up, and they still should be there or thereabouts in tune. So it's about having the instrument set up in a slightly different way, and it's something I've definitely learned a lot about over time.
Sure, maintenance is bound to be key for that, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. And if anything, you probably learned that from your experience in playing in Keelys. The Keeley experience, where you lift an instrument, set it down, lift it, set it down. And it has to work every
Yeah.
time. Did you draw from your experience, really from doing gigs like that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, just the more I kind of play with people who are not pipers or in like a pipe, because in pipe bands and in solo piping, as everybody will know, and it's where we're all about the tuning and making sure it's perfect and things. And I think when you're playing with other instruments, yes, it has to be in tune, but you almost start to care less about it because as long as it sounds good and it is in tune, it's
Hmm.
fine. It doesn't have to like I don't know. It's quite difficult to explain. It doesn't have to be like perfect because there's other things covering the fact that it's not perfect, I
There you
guess.
go. It doesn't have to read the exact point on the meter and everything. Yeah, exactly. So, if anything, can I ask about your preparation in that and your set list and that you put together for the event? I have to say it
Yeah,
was
sure.
wide, varied, and I was a huge fan. Ross, can you tell us about that process?
Yeah, sure. So I had some. I guess I wanted to kind of come out with a faster set, do a slower set in the middle, and finish with a faster set. It was basically the idea,
Yeah.
the general arc. You only have 15 minutes to showcase what you've been working at and what you want to showcase. So I think it's important to try and kind of think about the shape first, and then
Mm.
kind of fit tunes to fit that. So yeah, I started with kind of old hornpipe and had the band going just to kind of get the groove on the go. And then I played some of my own tunes. And then in the middle, I did a nice Gaelic slower, Gaelic air, and then a wee 2/4 march, which was a bit different. It's called Pipe Major Robert Rennie, and it's the one that's got the ending that goes
Yes, yes.
as well. And then the final set was the Leaving Arisig set that I've been playing for a few years now in different kind of guises and different ways, but basically that tune works well with the last tune, which is called I Write, and then put some extra space in the middle to try and kind of get a bit more of a varied repertoire, so it wasn't just reels and jigs, and yeah, some extra space, and then cracked on with some kind of fast reels for the big finish. Hopefully, was the plan anyway. And then the slower comes back over the top of the reel, which I guess is a kind of homage to my piping thing. It's that's quite a medley thing to do nowadays. In the last 10 years or so, lots of bands have been doing that.
That's it, the bit of the reprise, I think you call it. Is that the fancy word for it? But yeah, honestly, I watched the performance just with a huge smile on my face, thinking, yes, go on, Ross. It was absolutely brilliant. So for any folks at home who haven't seen it yet, I think it is still available on the BBC website. You can go and actually look at the performance. So do yourself a favor and go and watch it. It's fantastic. So Ross, you did mention a track there, I Write, and that featured on your album, of course, The Roke. We've been playing The Roke now on the Rab Show until we're blue in the face. Everyone seems to love it. Can you tell us then about the thinking of the production of this album? What sort of process was involved in picking the track list?
Sure. Well, so I was planning to release an album, and basically to coincide with this time last year was on tour in Germany, and everybody else who I was going with had a CD, and I didn't have a CD, so I was like, well, I need to have a CD. Yeah. So and then it was a good opportunity. I felt like I was a kind of stage in my career where I wanted to put something out to have my own thing to put out. So I got some of my pals on board, and we had four. It was it initially started as like a bow tie idea. It was going to be like the big sets at the start and the end, myself in the middle, and then kind of working my way down to that and from that. That was the idea. But it kind of ended up being a bit more kind of spread out than that. But there's four sets with like the full band with all guns blazing, and then there's like a few sets with just me and a kind of smaller ensemble, a quartet or so, and then there's a couple with just me and Rory Matheson on the piano, and then a couple of slower ones, and then there's one that's just me playing the quartet as well. So that's
the one I wanted to talk to you about, the quartet one. That honestly was bound to be so difficult to put together, Ross. You're playing four different parts layered on top of each other. I can't describe it to folk without actually listening to it, you know. Can you tell us about how you managed to put that together?
Yeah, well, it was just the same kind of idea. So I was lucky that I played in a quartet called Bra Beg with Chris Lee and Callum Kay and Enora Maurice over the last kind of couple of years before that. And we played like my tune's the first tune on it, and it's a bit of a kind of irregular thing. It's called the Opportunistic Chocolate Bar.
There you go.
because when I was I didn't have a title for it, and the album was coming up, and we kept grabbing snacks when I was in Australia playing at the Edinburgh Military Tattoo out there. And we kept grabbing snaps, but the melody keeps grabbing itself. It's kind of difficult without hearing it, but it kind of grabs a wee extra beat here and there. So I thought that was a kind of a good way to describe it. And then Callum Kay's tune, who's one of the members of Rob Beg, and we played it at Pipe and Live, but in like two different sets with different things, and I kind of brought them together and did an arrangement and kind of bridged the gap. And so I just basically wrote it as if I was writing for a quartet, and then just played them all myself essentially. But the key was so I was sitting in the studio with the music, and I just had to kind of keep going, check I was in tune with myself, which is a weird thing. And so the other thing that's important about it as well was that I had to do it in one full take each time. I could, with the other tracks, because I had other instruments, I had to I could like cut and paste because you couldn't hear. But when it's just me and the drones are so exposed, you could hear the drones change. It was weird because like you hear the drones, you're like, they're the same, they're in tune the same, but the where they are on like the phase of the drones, it would go like it would have a jump in it. So we quickly found out that if I made a mistake, we had to start again. So that was a long afternoon in the studio.
There you go. That's fascinating. And if anything, we remember hearing this whenever Gordon Duncan was actually putting his recordings together, and that he couldn't stop and start halfway through a set. He had to play it from beginning to end. So that's what I was going to ask you about that. And you had to kind of all the way through, no mistakes. So, yeah.
Well, no, there was plenty of mistakes, I'll tell you that. But on the finished product, there had to be no mistakes.
Yeah. There you go, indeed. So I have to say, we've been playing the album like crazy on the show, and one of the favorite tracks actually of folks out there seems to be Walka. So that's really popular. Sure. Yeah, tell us about that actually. Where did it come from?
So Walka is just like a kind of play on words. It's some waltzes and some polkas. So therefore, waltz, polka, Walka. Was the name for the track, just to give it a bit of a kind of punchier name than waltzes and polkas, I guess. And then the first tune on that is a Terry Tully tune that we played in the band. Actually, I heard it in the band first. But we only played, there is only 3 parts, but I added a wee 4th part. Just made it more fancy for the 4th part. And then my own tune for the waltz, and then into a Breton tune that we played with Cap Cabal in 2019 as well. That was a busy year, it kind of seems. But I played with the Bagad Cap Cabal in 2019. We played this tune as part of the bigger set. And so I took it out and kind of played it like a waltz with my friends that were playing on it. And then the final tune is a tune that I learned from some guys who play in a Canadian band called the band is called Anita McDonald and Ben Miller and Anita McDonald, and they have a guitarist called Zach Cormier who plays with them so they're a duo and they have a guitarist that plays with them. But the two guys in the band wrote this tune, and I learned it from them when we were on tour in Austria, and so they kind of just all kind of came together. So it was just a set of tunes, and then it just got the name Walka. But yeah, it seems to be fun, and it's maybe a bit different from the other things, because like jigs and reels and kind of slurs and things, it's just a wee bit of a different flavour perhaps to the thing.
Yeah, I think that's it, Ross, definitely. And I think that's really why folk like it, is because it is so unusual, you know. So again, I know I'm shamelessly promoting you here, but ignore me for a wee second. Go and get Ross's album. If you haven't got it yet, you're seriously missing a trick, because we're constantly playing it on the show. Yeah. So Ross, I have to ask you then about your time in your younger days, and you were actually pipe major of the National Youth Pipe Band of Scotland. Now that's quite an incredible outfit, basically, an organisation. What was it like to be at the helm as pipe major?
Oh, it was a brilliant opportunity and privilege, and I was joint pipe major with Callum Watson, who we grew up together in the band, and we stood next to each other in the Bog Hall band for years and things as well. So we're good friends. So it was nice to kind of do it with him. But we became joint pipe sergeants, and then Craig Muirhead was a pipe major at the time, and then he left, and they were just like Alistair McLaren, who was the director at the time, just moved us both into pipe major, and it's kind of set a precedent. I think there seems to have been joint pipe majors since then, and I think it's important because there's so many members, and you might not be able to make something because it's like a voluntary thing. So as everybody gets older in that band, like people start to have different things on. So it helps if there's two people in charge and who could tap their foot, and then there's pipe sergeants as well. So it's like 4 people who could take charge at any time, which I think is helpful. But yeah, that's a brilliant band, and I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that gave me, and all the experiences in not competition, in concerts. Sorry, not in competition was what I was meaning. The band just gives such a platform for young players, and I kind of guess older players, because I don't think you can be called young when you're 21, 22 whenever we retired. No. But we're not like youth. Well, we maybe are youths, but yeah, certainly like as you're kind of maturing through, and it's great. And that's all my best friends in piping are from the youth band, I would say. And they're all from different bands, and that's important as well. It's like it kind of takes away this thing of like, I play with this band, so I can't speak to you because you play in that band. And that certainly helped when we were growing up in the juvenile bands, because there was a bit of a kind of rivalry at the time. There was Dollar Academy, George Watson's College were the 2 big school bands, and then I was playing in Bog Hall. But I was friends with people from Dollar and Watson's, and then people from Dollar and Watson's were friends with each other, and that's really helped to break down the kind of a wee bit of the rivalry that was there maybe when I first started.
Yeah, that's interesting, if anything, because it's something that folk might not understand, is that the National Youth Band actually draws membership from all over Scotland, you know, and they're really heavily involved in tuition and everything, and the opportunities, as you said, Ross, I have to say, did you have any of the opportunities to travel with the band?
Yeah, so I went to Switzerland on 3 occasions, I think. We played at a horse show in my early years of it, which was mental. They had the backing band on a lorry, and then we marched in and played as like the break for it was like a equestrian show, like a kind of show jumping thing in this big arena in Zurich, and we were like the halftime entertainment, if you like. It was like the Super Bowl. And we were playing like the Dragon's Lair piece, which was what we were doing at the time, and on the back of this, and then we had to do like the Gay Gardens to like a Katy Perry song, and it was all very strange and all very weird, but that was a cool trip. And then we did the Christmas Tattoo in Basel a couple of years in a row as well, and we also did we played at Alexander McQueen's Memorial in London. On the steps of St Paul's Cathedral. That was a good trip, and we all got dressed by like Alexander McQueen's kind of thing, and he had designed this kind of fabulous feather bonnet, and it was like a normal feather bonnet, but it had like fabulous like feathers, kind of like fashiony feathers coming out the side.
Ah, brilliant. And if anything, the reason why I'm asking you about your experiences, because obviously at the moment the band can't play anywhere. They can't really function as such. So it's a shame to see, but hopefully we will see them back, And if anything, anyone listening right now, as you've heard from Ross's experience, if you have opportunity, I would encourage folks to do it. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think they are actually doing some online practices. I've got students who play and they were telling me, they were like, "Oh, I was at youth band this weekend." I was like, "Oh," and it's just been on Zoom, and they've been going into breakout rooms and learning all the music. So when they can hit the ground running when we do come back, and it's not been sitting on it. So I would say that. And they've got a new director now. Stephen Blake's the director, and I think they're playing lots of different kinds of music. Kind of more piece-based than like pipe band tunes, which will be interesting to hear. I'm really looking forward to hearing that when it all comes out as well.
That sounds good. Fantastic. Well, speaking of new music then, Ross, let's get on to this new book that you're releasing, mate. Yeah. This came out of the blue. Where did this come from?
It came from, I don't know, I did that, I did a composers forum thing on pipes and drums a few months ago, and everybody who was on it had a book, and they have something to like show for themselves, basically. And I had my CD, which I was quite happy with, to show for myself. And then I was kind of thinking, you know what, I'd always thought about doing a book, but I always thought I didn't have enough music and things. So I went down the route of, not that I guess I don't have enough music, but I went down the route of doing like a play along book. So this is called the Roke Collection, and it's every single tune as I played it on the CD. So you can play along grace note by grace note, hopefully. I've been spending hours and hours going through the music as well. And yeah, hopefully you can play along from start to finish on an electric chanter or a fiddle or the piano or anything you want to play along on, and then but also take the tunes away and do your own thing with them as well.
I love that.
Is the idea. So I think apparently it's only the second book of that kind of type, certainly in the piping world. I think Fred Morrison did one a few years ago with his Outland CD.
I was just about to say that kind of reminds me of what Fred did, but he was kind of the trailblazer here. So this is something really unique for folks, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I quite fancied having a USP, if you like. I didn't want to just bring out, like, not that I don't think bringing out a book of compositions has value, but I didn't feel like I had enough of a voice, perhaps yet in the grand scheme of things to be able to bring out my tunes, and I wanted to have a few more before I did that anyway. So hopefully there'll be another collection down the line, but for now, I was like quite kind of, I've not been able to gig my album. I've not been able to do anything. So I thought having two products that kind of married up, so you can have them as a bundle, you can sell them at gigs and things, was the kind of idea. They all make sense. It's the same photo on the front. It's the same font. It's the same kind of ideas throughout. So it's still part of the kind of brand, if you like.
There you go, the Ross Miller brand. So, folks, I have to say, we have a lot of guys listening to the show right now who love the album, constantly request it on the show, and are bagpipers. So this is your chance to actually learn the tunes that you love and play along with it. Yeah. Fantastic stuff. Now, I have to say, though, I am a complete beginner. I've really just been learning how to function in this thing. Would I be able to tackle your book at all, or is it for the more advanced player?
No, I think you could definitely. You don't have to play along with the album. Absolutely not. And you can play the tune slowly. The slow airs and things are in there for I guess for you. And you don't have to play the technique. I guess yes, I've written it exactly meticulously as it was. And there's bits of random technique that like are not actually. It's not like in the tutor book, if you like. There's bits. There's like random flary kind of like scales and things. But but on the whole, yes, you could definitely play along. Play the tunes, and maybe just take out some of the grace notes and things. We were talking about doing like trying to get like, okay, this is how I played it on the album. This is how like it was composed, if you like. But it's already 72 pages long, so so there was no space for that, or the book would cost £100 each or something. But so yeah, and there's also, I should add as well, there's photos and stories of my my piping life so far, and there's also extended stories about each of the tunes and kind of where they come from and my kind of connection. So it's a bit like big sleeve notes with it on the album as well. So hopefully it'll be interesting to even to read it, and you can keep it in your catalog until you can play the big fast scales and and all this. But yeah, no, definitely it's hopefully it'd be something for everyone in it. I'd like to hope anyway, and it hopefully it'll look nice as well to go on your shelf with all the other books.
So Ross, how can folks get a hold of this then? Where can they go to purchase it?
So yeah, so it's available for pre-order as of last night. Actually, this is Wednesday. From my website, which is www.rossmillermusic.com, and so it's available there for pre-order, and you can also get it as a bundle with the CD if you don't have the CD as well for a bit cheaper. And you can also get the CD and various other things there. So that's great. And I brought there's a video as well. There's a video to a celebrate a year. It was actually, so yesterday was the year anniversary of my album coming out.
Wow, it's been a year.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
I thought it was a perfect day to announce the pre-order, and the pre-order will be open for about 3 or 4 weeks, and at the beginning of April it'll be for general release, and hopefully it'll be in kind of retailers and things by then as well. If I get my act together, I've spent the last week editing this video, which if you watched it last night, you'll see why. It's got lots of friends and pipers from all over the world playing the quartet track as well. So that was part of the announcement last night.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll have to say I'm nothing but a fan, Ross, and I'm so glad to have you on the show, mate. Yeah, finally.
It's brilliant to be here.
Finally. So yeah, folks out there, please go to Ross Miller Music on the website. Go and pre-order this thing now. Avoid disappointment. Go and grab it, because sometimes I do realize that books like this can go out of print pretty quick, because they can be very popular. So going on the popularity of how your album's going on our show, this book's going to fly off the shelf, mate. Yeah, for
hopefully, sure. Yes, definitely. Well, that would be great. And yeah, so we only print in a limited run, so I don't. I think I would get evicted from my flat if I had any more boxes of things in my flat. So make sure that hopefully there'll be a few pre-orders, and then you'll get it before the release date. That's also that's the perk, the pre-order perk. And I'm also going to do a little kind of competition to win a free one, I think, as well at some point. I've got an exciting idea about that, which I need to bring to life in the next couple of weeks, because I've been busy actually writing all the grace notes to the tunes.
Yeah. That's it. So Ross, we've had some Big Rab Show staple questions that we ask everybody who comes on the show. Number 1, Ross Miller, what is your favorite cheese?
My favorite cheese? Oh, Dornoch Brie that you get in Lidl here.
Ooh, Dornoch Brie. I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I don't even know if they make it in Dornoch. It just says Dornoch Brie on the I have it in a bagel with cranberry sauce. There you go.
Oh, nice. Now you're making me hungry now. Nice one. So can you tell us then, what has been your most embarrassing moment in piping to date? And all experience in playing?
I don't know. Having an early chanter at the European Championships in 2016 with Inverary.
Oh no! It happens to everyone, but it feels
and hopefully, touch wood, it'll never happen again.
No, it's so easy to do. Is the thing, but that's what I'm finding actually. Yeah, but hey, that's another topic. Everyone's experienced that, I'm sure. So also then going forward, 2021, we're hoping to see a road out of the pandemic and everything, and the opening of theaters and venues, and hopefully the start of gigs again. Have you got any plans for this incoming year for any shows?
So I guess there's, I've got things that were cancelled last year, but they've not got firm rescheduled dates yet because nobody knows what's going to happen, basically. Hopefully in September, October time, we'll have things that were supposed to be in September, October last year. I've still got to launch I've still got to do the live Scotland launch of the album, if you like.
That still has to happen, yeah.
Yeah. I was on tour in Germany when it actually came out on my birthday last year, so that was kind of the whole thing. And then I was going to come back and do a launch show in Linlithgow in my hometown, and we had the hall all booked and everybody was going to play and it was going to be brilliant, and obviously it couldn't happen. And then we had some things booked for later in the summer and later in the year after the pipe band season, and all that got cancelled, obviously. But it's got postponed. So we just I'm trying to work on getting kind of firmer dates and things, and trying to get some kind of tour on the go. But then probably realistically will be the end of this year, if not 2022, before I can actually get out and kind of play again, which is a shame. And it's the same with the pipe band competitions and the solos. We're seeing them all getting cancelled at the moment. So
that's it indeed.
Hopefully we'll get some form of our performance fix and our seeing people in real life fix, I think, is the key, isn't it?
Exactly. Just the ability to hear the music again in person is so important. Yeah. So Ross, keep us posted, man, if you are going to be hitting the boards, and let us know that we can go,
Yeah, hopefully.
For sure. Ross, thank you so much for chatting to us on the podcast, mate. I wish you every success with this book and everything. And for everyone out there, go to Ross Miller Music, go and pre-order this now. And you'll not regret it. So Ross, thank you so much for chatting to us on the podcast, mate. And hopefully we will catch up with you in the near future. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Cheers.
Cheers.